Festering economic issues, divisive politics, and young people who want their leaders to do better. All amplified in the digital age in many parts of Asia. Or leaders that come and go, creating distrust of the system in some countries, prompting concerns over long-term political stability. Thailand swearing in its third prime minister in 2 years after a leaked phone call derailing the premiership of Paetongtarn Shinawatra. Japan set for another prime minister as well after incumbent Shigeru Ishiba announced that he is stepping down less than a year into office. While other parts of Asia grapple with sweeping, sometimes deadly protests, youth-led demonstrations in Nepal last week toppling the government and paving the way for a new interim administration, while discontent roils Indonesia over lawmakers' perks and economic inequality. President Prabowo Subianto moving fast to reshuffle his cabinet, ousting 5 ministers, including the long-serving finance minister. The Philippines is bracing for a week of protests as public anger grows over alleged corruption in flood control projects. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. backing those ongoing demonstrations and pledging a thorough probe into those allegations. CNN's Bernal with this report.
Public outrage, according to Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., is called for given the scale of corruption unveiled so far by his ongoing crackdown on fraudulent state infrastructure projects. He even said he would join the anti-corruption protests if he was not president. Now, this is his clearest support yet of the ongoing daily mass demonstrations in Southeast Asia's oldest democracy. It was during his State of the Nation address last July when he announced this upcoming crackdown. And on Monday, he finally named the members of an independent body that would probe these corruption schemes in the government's infrastructure projects in the last 10 years. That spans 3 administrations, including his own. The body is headed by a former appeals court justice who he said will ensure the legality of the body's actions. Members include a former public works cabinet official who he said would know, quote, where the bodies are buried, unquote, and also a member would be a managing partner in an auditing firm who he said specializes in forensic accounting. The body will convene daily, conduct hearings, summon witnesses, and forward findings to respective prosecutorial bodies. He said this body will be independent, and that would be the difference of it from legislative hearings in Congress that are ongoing. He cited that there are lawmakers who are now being linked to the anomalies. Meanwhile, as daily protests continue, 2 larger protests are expected on September 21, which marks 53 years since the declaration of martial law of his late father and namesake, the former President Ferdinand Marcos Sr., who was ousted in a peaceful revolt nearly 40 years ago. The common plea of the protest organizers I spoke to are mandatory lifestyle checks and disclosures of statements of assets and liabilities, net worth of sitting government officials, as well as holding accountable those linked to these anomalies. Buena, Bernal, CNA, Metro Manila.